World Wide Web. I'm Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. I think it's about time I take a moment to appreciate some of the classics again. After all, I'm really late on writing my script this week, and it helps when I'm reviewing an hour-long movie. What I mean is, it's because horror movies from the 50s and 60s are so interesting. At this point in cinema, audiences weren't being scared or fooled by the tricks of the 30s so easily, and because most studios didn't have the budget to pull off amazing makeup, there was a higher percentage of psychological horror movies at that time than there are today. One example of this is The Devil's Hand, a 1962 film directed by William J. Hull Jr. that has nothing to do with the devil. Or hands. Instead, the story follows Rick Turner as he is brought into a cult of voodoo practitioners in the modern world who turn his life upside down. And that is modern world as in the 60s, and voodoo magic as in Hollywood. Nevertheless, without further ado, let's take a look at The Devil's Hand. That sounds weird. Let's take a look at the movie. We open to a... Oh, well, hold on a second. First, we've got this swinging jazz tune in the credits. Music like this, it really puts you in the mood to watch some people die, isn't it? After that, we are introduced to Donna Trent, the lead character's fiancée, so effectively a minor side character, played by Adriana Welter, meeting up with the star of the movie, Robert Alda, who plays Rick Turner.
What's wrong?
Nothing. I didn't get much sleep last night.
Or the night before, or the night before that.
Rick, I know you say you've got it under control, but you really should just quit World of Warcraft.
I quit the other day.
Moving to Neverwinter Online doesn't count. Actually, he's quit his job, because in the 60s, food and lodging are free, it seems. She balks at the news, as it means that their plans to wed have to be delayed.
Be a little patient with me, honey. Please.
It's just the opening scene, dear. Things never go right in opening scenes. I'll be a CEO by tomorrow, I promise. This immediately transitions into that night, showing us just why Rick has had such trouble sleeping. Evidently, his bedroom wall is missing. Oh, and a female specter is tormenting him. Oh, that was some good shit. Following this, we get a long scene of him taking a walk to an interior monologue narration. It's a relatively effective technique to express his confusion about the situation and being desperate for an explanation, but the problem is this is the only scene in the movie where it's narrated at all, let alone in this manner, making it feel quite a bit out of place.
I could feel it pulling me closer, closer. And then I saw it.
A chill ran up my spine as I slowly realized I just might be in a killer doll movie. Just like any man who's been tormented by a ghost woman for days and not explained this to his girlfriend at all, he decides to spill the beans 100% about his fantasies and the discovery of the doll that has the same likeness as his dream girl. Also, completely in line with reality, when his fiancée hears that he in fact ordered the doll and some woman she has never heard of posed for it, she doesn't mind in the slightest.
You're making too much out of it, Rick. There's just been a misunderstanding somewhere.
But he knew my name.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Rick managed to point that out before I had to. On top of that, there happens to be a Donna doll there as well.
Where do you get these ideas?
What are you talking about?
The doll, of course. Honestly, Rick, it was sweet of you to have it made for me.
Woman's got the deductive capabilities of an orange. When the shop owner comes back and points out that the doll is not Donna and she cannot have it, she finally starts getting upset. At Rick.
Rick, if you're playing some sort of a game, I don't find it very amusing.
I told you, Donna, World of Warcraft isn't a game. It's a way of life. After the shop owner tells her off one final time, they leave, but Mr. Lamont isn't quite done. I love my sinister bongo player. Best investment of my life. He gives the doll some extreme acupuncture, which is super effective. This is a movie from the 60s, and I've already made references to 3 different video games. Despite telling Rick the doll was for someone else to pick up and having no reason to have it on the show floor at any time, the man pins the impaled homunculus to the shelf in clear view of everybody. The Devil's Hand, posting incriminating things on people's walls decades before Facebook. We cut to Belmont Hospital. Wait a minute, does that count as a Castlevania reference? Unsurprisingly, Donna suffered from heart problems with no obvious cause. Of course, we have to get this information from the doctor, as she's not an important enough character to warrant being in this scene.
Right now, she's resting quietly under sedation. You better try to get some sleep yourself.
Thanks for that. These scenes of him sleeping just don't make sense without him being expressly told to do so. This obviously results in more visions, though there is a twist.
Should I sing until your head throbs with the sound of my voice? Should I dance for you?
Kinda hard to dance for him when you have no legs in this scene. As he lacks the ability to make decisions for himself, she tells him to retrieve the doll from the shop and deliver it to her. Being either incredibly stupid or incredibly vindictive, he is sure to tell his bedridden fiancée about this first thing in the morning.
I know you have to see her, darling.
Sweet hell, Rick, she's a keeper! Seriously, this woman could walk in on you fucking a hooker, a stripper, and her sister at the same time and apologize for interrupting you. She does warn him to be careful, though, so without thought or preparation of any kind, he picks up the doll and delivers it to Bianca Milan, played by Linda Christian.
Mr. Turner, I've been expecting you. Do come in.
You look different. New dress, hair, Oh, I got it. You're opaque!
What made you so sure I was coming here tonight?
I invited you and you accepted.
Yeah, Rick, you've done everything everyone asks you to do without question. Well, except be careful, but now as your fiancée, who gives a fuck about her?
Maybe I'm a little dense, but I don't understand all of this.
Oh, maybe? Bianca explains to Rick that she contacted him through the power of thought projection, and it's all because she thinks he's hot stuff.
I had to condition you. Wear down your resistance.
What resistance? As the two of them continue this awkward conversation as a means of explaining things to the audience, Rick is given a demonstration of thought projection by Bianca, proving that she definitely has the power to transmit her image at least 5 feet.
You're a Shado.
A witch.
I was going to say one of the few people with actual character traits.
You're evil.
No, I wouldn't go quite that far. She very plainly explains to him that, yes, she's evil and in a cult, and that must be one hell of a turn-on for Rick as he completely forgets about the fiancée he... Oh, hell, I doubt he even knew her name. But before he can get too caught up in the moment, Bianca tells him he must join their cult before getting down and dirty. Because if he doesn't, that would just be wrong. If you want to be evil, you have to follow the rules. Without delay, they go back to the doll shop, and we learn that the shop owner, Frank Lamont, played by Neil Hamilton, is the cult leader affectionately known as the High Executioner. And no, Rick doesn't notice Donna's impaled doll right there. Again. In any case, they head down to meet up with the rest of Secret Club Evil, and suddenly, dramatic bongo player steals the scene. However, we see within the ranks. Spy cameras may be easily concealed in the 60s, but spies stick out like a sore thumb.
O worshippers of Gamba, the great devil god.
Gamba? Jesus, sounds like one of the monsters out of a kaiju film. After a short example of their pedal-driven sacrificial chandelier that only sometimes works.
Gamba protects his own, the girl lives. Oh, thank you, great Gamba.
Gamba didn't have anything to do with that. He was off the shore of Okinawa eating some fishing boats. We then get to see Rick join this lovely cult and swear allegiance to Gamba.
Will you follow his commands without question? Though it means someone's destruction, even your own?
I will.
Big fucking surprise there.
Is that all?
For now.
Tuesday is our baby barbecue, and next week we're holding a bake sale. How does nobody notice this guy? For fuck's sake, he's in the front row! Now Rick's got Bianca on his side, though, allowing him uncanny luck in horse race betting and the stock market.
Someone is giving you some very valuable tips. Well, let's just say I have a good advisor.
Satan. He fucking loves Wall Street. Finding notes about Donna's pain and laughing about it, eventually Rick runs into another cultist who is incredibly drunk and professes that she wants out of the clutches of the devil god Gamera. As he is a heartless prick, he has no issues instead turning her over to the Grand Executioner, which evidently was exactly what they wanted him to do.
Hey, what is this?
I give him my report to Mr. Lamont, and he's very satisfied.
You mean this whole thing was a setup?
Precisely. You play some nice games.
Of course, as far as I can tell, it's not the cult that did that to him. Rick's just an asshole. Might have helped to establish a few character traits before he was corrupted. Aside from him treating his fiancée like a dick. They leave Rick alone in that room, and despite the fact that it's been established that weeks have passed since he joined and the doll was right next to the doorway to the back room, he's finally realized that, hey, that's the Donna doll being impaled through the heart. No time to mess with it now, though, but he can't shake the need to help, so he heads over to the hospital to meet up with her. Wait, he what?
I understand.
Do you?
It's not a very romantic prospect, being tied down to an invalid.
Okay, he has a tinge of caring for Donna. Maybe his character has been reversed. And she is still completely forgiving to him about everything. He's worshipping the devil god Gappa, and she blames herself for him being a total asshole. Nevertheless, he gives her some hope.
But at midnight tonight, you're going to be all right. Any discomfort you feel will disappear. Your strength will return. Your health will be restored.
You might also get the sensation of someone pinching at your buttocks. You should probably ignore that. He makes it to the shop, however... Oh, like she'd really question if she started feeling better at 11:55. Naturally, Frank has to return to the shop for some undisclosed reason, which means by the time Rick removes the prod and tapes the doll back up, he's gotta hide from the cult leader. He does this by making as much noise as possible. He's certainly no solid snake. Rushing through the back door, leaving a very obvious trail, fortunately for him, Frank likes to chase his trespassers slowly, which allows him to find one of the notes obvious spy dropped. A note to his editor? And the reason he had to jot this down during service was what, exactly? So he could drop it and be discovered later? The next day, Frankie tells the congregation that there's a traitor amongst them, and they will be judged. Later.
At midnight tonight, you shall die. Gamba will be avenged.
So that would be at least 24 hours since the discovery of the note. After fucking up that badly and still not getting the pictures to your editor after weeks of infiltrating the cult, I have to say that, yes, you deserve to die. We do get to see some of the magic at work here as Frank pokes Doughy Guy in the eye with the needle conveniently while he's driving, and then sets the doll on fire, which does directly translate to the obvious spy bursting into flames.
O great Gamba, justice has been done. Your unworthy servant has been eliminated.
How do you know? Yeah, we saw the results of the ritual, but the man could have easily just skipped town and you would have seen the same results. But he's not done yet, as each member that is added has a sponsor, and Doughy Guy was sponsored by none other than Bruno Visoda, who you may recognize as the shop owner, Dave Walker, in Attack of the Giant Leeches.
Would you be good enough to get your doll from the shelf?
Seems a silly thing to ask somebody, but being so evil is really tiring. You have to stay up at all hours to perform rituals, and most of his congregation is about as intelligent as a tomato, so it's not too hard to believe. In any case, we don't see him die anyway, and instead we see heartless bastard Rick picking Donna up from the hospital almost like a nice guy, but reminding her every step of the way that he has no intention of ever being with her again.
For your own sake and for mine, Donna, I'm asking you to leave.
All right.
You know, I think I was wrong about that hypothetical situation earlier. He probably could have also had some farm animals in there and get her to make him a hoagie while he's busy. But oh no, Bianca is onto this, and using the Donna doll gets her to show up at their next sacrifice as the offering. Knowing her, though, I doubt any magic was involved. She probably just called her up on the phone and say, hey, be a sacrifice, and she was like, yeah, okay. They expose his transgressions and say that to prove his loyalty, he must spin the wheel of swords for the sacrifice.
You swore to follow the commands without question, though it meant someone's destruction, perhaps even your own. Spin the wheel.
Gotta love these game shows where you either win $50,000 or are horrifically impaled. You win some, you lose some. Being the easily manipulated man he is, he shows how much he loves Donna by spinning the wheel of death. However, when he realizes, based on Bianca's stare of all things, that the entire wheel is set with swords to guarantee a death, he breaks character pretty heavily and actually thinks for himself for once. This results in Frank's obvious death, and the entire place burning to the ground, with their dolls in it. A fat lot of good escaping is going to do you when you're going to spontaneously burst into flames anyway.
Never mind. The important thing is that you're safe and free of it.
Are you free of it too?
Yes, darling, we both are.
Or you could not just break Rick's character there, but also completely forego consistent magical properties of your homunculi. Brilliant. But watch out, Bianca escaped the fire too, along with her doll, allowing her to transform into sequel bait. Assuming that she doesn't need their dolls to manipulate their minds, which it's been established several times that she does. Whoops. Well, that was The Devil's Hand, and it's got some charm to it. No masterpiece, mind you, but honestly the whole package was pretty entertaining. Aside from the ending, the magic depicted in this movie is relatively consistent and not too powerful. The characters, however, were put together somewhat less thoughtfully. I think Rick is supposed to be the one we're able to identify with, so in case there's anyone out there who quit their job for the lulz, treat their completely loyal fiancé like a spare piece of furniture, and join a devil cult at the drop of a hat, maybe you can tell me if he really spoke to you. Personally, I found his motivations fleeting, and even him being human hard to believe. Donna wasn't much better, being completely loyal and unquestioning being her only real character traits, made worse by the few scenes she was in. Bianca, however, did have some depth to her motivations, and unlike the rest of the characters in this movie, a capacity for higher thinking. Linda Christian did a pretty good job with her because, for all intents and purposes, she carried the whole movie. The horror aspects in this movie do work well enough, though, with enough questions left unanswered for most of it to keep you interested, and while the payoffs were pretty basic, their sparseness did help the impact strangely enough. Overall, The Devil's Hand is an entertaining classic film that, despite its logical flaws and the ability to be riffed to hell and back at times, gives an interesting and somewhat entertaining story, bewitching the audience with 3 voodoo action figures out of 5. It's kind of funny, though. Bianca could tell which horse would win, which stocks would fail, yet somehow she didn't see the whole place burning to the ground coming. Well, maybe she just felt like barbecue that day. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, if you're tormented by translucent floating people at night, maybe you should lay off the Ambien.
Ahmed shut that music off.
Darling, it's so good.
The Devil's Hand posting incriminating... The Devil's Hand! The Devil's Hand posting incriminating things on people's walls decades before Facebook. Fucking dogs. The Devil's Hand posting incriminating things on Facebook decades before Facebook. What?